we need to be, if we're keeping our feet in the box, we need to love, but not be legalistic. That's hard. You need to care about people and not rules. But you need to protect people. You know what I find? If you care about people, you're viciously protective of them. So all of a sudden you care about rules. But care about the rules because you care about people. Does that make sense? Don't throw out the rules because you're trying not to be a legalist. Don't do that. But if you're going to have the rules, this quick story, because I think you'll get it. At 1 year, some kids at camp did something that just irritated me. Totally against our policy, totally against me. I was so mad, I could have done a lot of things to them. And I remember looking at them thinking, I really am angry. And I remember thinking, I got to deal with you later. I walked away. I said, God, you know what? If I talk to them now, I'm just so angry. And I remember God dealing with me for about a week. And what was very interesting is that for a week I struggled with this because I cared more about the rule and my reputation and them. And I said, God, I will not go to them until I care more about them than the rule. And it took me a week. It's not that the rule was bad. It's not that I changed the rule. What I learned now as an old man is I don't want to correct anything until I care more about the person, until I care about the rule. And I'm not going to abandon the rule. I know it's hard to understand. And two more things. If I'm going to keep my feet in the box, I'm going to work at deepening the ministry instead of making it wider. I want it deep, not wide. I don't want to be an inch wide and a mile deep. I want to be a mile deep and an inch wide. And I have to have that mind frame. I understand that it's not all about huge numbers. It is about transformed lives. And transformed lives take time and effort. And actually, if you just transform one a year, we'll change the whole world. And the last, it's going to be grace and not law. If I'm going to stay in the box, any programs I work on are going to be grace-oriented, not law-oriented. I'm going to use the verse Titus 2:11 through 13 as my key verse for ministry. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation has appeared to all men. And it teaches us to deny ungodliness and worldly lusts and to live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world while we're looking forward to that great and glorious hope. And I just messed it up. Reading too many versions of the Bible does that to your memory. But here's what that verse tells me. That the grace of God that brings salvation, very particular grace, teaches us something. What does it teach us? The love of God, as it was in Malachi. The love of God teaches us what? To live soberly, righteously, and godly. Do you know most people think the grace of God gives them a license to sin? The grace of God actually teaches me to live soberly, righteously, and godly, according to that verse. So if I don't do that, then I don't understand the grace. What do? I go back and figure out the grace of God. I go back and figure out my depravity. You can't appreciate the grace of God until you understand your depravity. So